This is Nic Baisley from FilmSnobbery, and I'm here in Beverly Hills, actually, with actor, director Thomas Jane. How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Good. We're here to talk about Dark Country 3D. Tell me a little bit about the experience of making the flick.
Well, it's the first 3D movie that was made in Hollywood. It was the first digital 3D film. So we had to create the whole workflow for the picture, which was a big pain in the ass. And it delayed the movie, I think, by about a year, just creating the digital workflow to create, your 2-3 images to marry them together. And we had a lot of green screen, which kind of was like the new version of rear screen projection. It's very film noir movie, and I stole a lot of shots from all the favorite film noirs that I love, and it was my film school.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you learn a lot from creating it? Like, was there a big learning curve for you to have to learn how 3D is actually created, and then the post production to kind of understand the end result?
Yeah, we brought on a gentleman named Ray Zone, who was 3D god of comic books, and he's also a great 3D photographer, and he's a member of the Southern California Stereo Club, and they've been doing 3D for 50 years. So Ray was really the most experienced 3D guy that I could find, and I was a fan of his from the old comics. And he came on, and he was our 3D technical advisor. I found a company called Paradise FX out in the valley that did 3D amusement park ride films. That was the only 3D that was going on at the time when we made the movie. So I asked them if they wanted to make a feature or a film for Sony DVD. And they jumped on board, and I think that it ended up costing them money in the end, because we had to create the cameras and the workflow, and a guy named Max Penner built all the rigs, and we built everything from scratch. We had a couple of Mac laptops nailed down to a piece of plywood out in the desert, and everything was cabled, and it was an experience, man. Sometimes the static electricity from the cold in the ground would short the cameras out, and we'd have to wait. We had ran into all kinds of interesting anomalies out there, and very, very happy with the finished product. The movie is like my film school. I think there's a lot of great ideas in there, and I'm starting to learn how to put them together. And the next one I do will be a lot more proficient, I think.
Yeah, I've met Ray Zone, actually. Really nice guy. He actually, the 3D Club has donated the silver screen over at the Downtown Independent, where Dark Country 3D is going to be screening. What was the big decision process of making this as a 3D movie versus a 2D?
Well, I wanted to direct a movie. It'd be my directorial debut, and I thought I'd pick a story that I could keep simple, and a guy and a girl driving through the desert, and they come across a body in the road, and then at the same time I was hanging out at the Southern California Stereo Club in the church basement over on Wilshire, and the two things just kind of came together. The guys in there said, hey, it's digital, you can create these great 3D images, and guys were building their own little miniature 3D camera rigs and bringing them in. And me and Ray, we just looked at each other and we were like, fuck, man, we could make this movie in 3D. And then we started exploring the idea of that. And so we were ahead of the curve by about a year. We went around and pitched it to places like Lionsgate. They just looked at us like, you mean with the red and the blue glasses? Are you serious? And nobody's made that since Jaws 3D. I mean, what the fuck with that? So they passed. But then Sony DVD picked it up because they knew that they had these 3D televisions coming out. So that's how we got the green light to make the first all-digital 3D movie. I think when we went into production, I think that Journey to the Center of the Earth was filming, but they were using tape. They were shooting on tape. So we're the first all-digital 3D film, and one of the very first digital 3D movies to go into production.
So, and it's kind of a different kind of production too, because you also have there's a graphic novel or a book that's along with this as well. And you want to tell me a little bit about why you also decided to kind of pair that up?
So at the Downtown Independent, we'll be doing a book signing too, and I got my comic book company that I've worked with Ray Zone on, and Ray did the 3D for Bad Planet, and we had a great experience. And then so we did the movie Dark Country, and then I decided to make a graphic novel out of Dark Country because the film itself is inspired. The film itself is inspired by the work of Thomas Ott. I used to carry copies of Thomas Ott's graphic novels around with me on set. So I asked Thomas if he wanted to adapt the short story that we used to write the film into a graphic novel. And he read the short story and he said, yeah. When he did it, he hadn't seen the film. So it's a pure take on the short story. The two things are different. Thomas told a slightly different story than the film does because we're both using the same source material. But Thomas didn't want to see the movie because he didn't want to be influenced.
What would you say is the biggest difference in interpretation between the graphic novel and the movie?
Well, I don't want to give anything away, but there's different sort of storylines in the short story that we left out of the film and that Thomas decided to use. And I think to great effect. The stories are, they have definite, real... different plot turns and twists in the graphic novel. So for me, it's an interesting read either way. And the book itself is in bookstores now. You can go to your local comic book shop and ask for it. Dark Country with the Thomas Ott. And we also included 40 pages of production art, and we also included a little sleeve in the inside front cover for your personal copy of Dark Country, so you can take it out of the crappy DVD box and put it in the book, and then you have a complete package.
That's awesome. And you're gonna be at the Downtown Independent this weekend. You're gonna be signing. We're gonna be screening Dark Country 3D, and it's gonna be a double feature with in conjunction with the LA the 3D Club.
That's right.
And they're gonna be doing Inferno along with that in 3D.
Right. Desert Noir. We're doing a night of Desert Noir. Inferno is a wonderful 1950s film noir, shot in color, that is also in 3D. So it's going to be a really cool double feature night. Anybody who's into film noir and 3D, we'll see you down there. And we'll also have copies of the book you can pick up, and you can get it signed too by me and Ray. And Eddie Muller is going to be moderating, so fans of film noir want to come down and get a chance to meet and talk to Eddie Muller, who runs the Film Noir Foundation up in San Francisco.
And if you want to grab tickets to that, you can go to downtownindependent.com. And is there any other sites that people can learn a little bit more about Dark Country or anything that you're doing?
Go to rawstudios.com and check out what graphic novels we have coming up, and we'll talk about the new Western that we're shooting next year, and all kinds of fun stuff. We have a great forum on there for comics and film, too, that's really popular. So check us out at rawstudios.com.
Excellent. I want to thank you so much, Thomas, for talking with us, and I'm really glad that people are going to be able to see Dark Country the way it was meant to be seen in 3D over at the Downtown Indie.
We'll see you at the Downtown Independent.
Absolutely.
It's a great theater.
Thank you.